Moving on to 8.2, we're going to talk about interior angles and exterior angles. Okay, so you're going to learn two things this section. Interior angles. What do we think interior angles normally add up to? 180 or 360, right? Those are the numbers we normally think of. Not with these. Okay, with regular polygons, they are not going to add up to 360. Okay, they don't actually add up to a specific number. Okay, they are going to follow this formula, n minus 2 times 180. So they don't add, everyone write that down. They don't add up to a specific number. They just follow the same formula. Okay, what do we think n stands for? Number of sides. Yep, n is for the number of sides. Make that note in there. Number of sides.
Number of sides minus 2, then times.
Okay, so you take the number of sides on that specific polygon up there. How many sides does it have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
7.
Okay, so we're going to plug in 7 to our equation. Okay, so what that's going to look like is we're going to have 7 minus 2 times 180. Okay, with order of operations, looking at that formula, what do we have to do first?
7 minus 2 equals 5.
Yeah, you have to do the parentheses, right? 7 minus 2, we get 5 times 180. You got 900? Okay, one extra step that we're going to learn today that the notes does not have is how many degrees is one of those angles. How do we find out how much one of them is? If all of them are 900 together, how do we find out how many one of them are? Right, divide by the number of sides. So we're going to divide that number by 7.
128.57.
Thank you, awesome. 128.5. Okay, so you're going to follow this formula when it asks for interior angles. Okay, it's going to be the same no matter how many sides there are to that problem.
So you're always going to get a decimal?
Not always. Good question. You're not always going to get a decimal, but you can get decimals. Okay, any questions on that formula or what you're looking for? Okay, let's look at, not that one, this one. On your slide 3, bottom left corner. Try that formula with this with this polygon. Okay, remember what's the formula? N minus 2 times 180. Okay, go ahead and try that. Find the measure of one of those angles. So following this formula, what does n stand for again?
Number of sides.
Number of sides. How many did you guys count? 8. So we plug in 8 for n. So we have 8 minus 2 times 180. Again, what do you have to do first?
Minus.
Subtract first, so we get 6 times 180. What does that equal out to? 1080. Now that's the measure of all the angles put together. How do we find the measure of 1? Divide by the number of sides, which is 8. What'd you get? 135. Does everyone agree? You all got 135? Good. Any questions with interior angles? Okay, there's one more step we're going to talk about today, and that's on the back of your sheet. Okay? Exterior angles. What do you think exterior angles add up to?
180.
Not 180, good guess. It is 360. Okay? These actually add up to 360 degrees. How many exterior angles are there?
3.
What's the relation? How do you know how many exterior angles there are? Do you think? What? Open corner, okay. How can you, sorry, let me rephrase. How can you find out how many exterior angles there are without drawing them? How do you think? Which is how many sides, right? Sides add up to the same amount as interior and exterior angles. So the number of sides, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one. That means there's 5 exterior angles. Okay, so the stuff on your test and on your worksheet does not have the angle measures on there. Okay, it wants us to find the measure of one angle. So they add up to 360, right? Okay, so how do we find the measure of one of them? Not subtract. Good idea.
You add them all together.
Yes, you would add them all together if you knew all of them. What if we don't know all of them? Divide by what? It is divide. What are we going to divide by? The number of sides. Good. Dividing by the number of sides, because that's going to give us the measure of one of those angles, right? So do 360 divided by 5. What do you get? 72?
Yep.
So 72 is the measure of one of those exterior angles. Okay, we're only going to be working with regular polygons. Yesterday we learned what a regular polygon was. What does it have to do? There's 3 things to be a regular polygon. Remember those 3 things? What? How many?
3 or more.
You say they all have to have the same sides, right? What about the angles? They all have to be the same? There's one other thing. Starts with a C. Concave or convex, which one does it have to be? Convex, right? It has to be convex, so that means that it is a solid regular polygon, okay? So we're only going to be working with those. We're not going to be working with non-regular, okay? So looking at 6, how many sides does number 6 have? 4. So how do we find the measure of one of the exterior angles? 360 divided by 4, which is 90. Yep. Any questions over interior and exterior angles? So when you have interior angles, let's just think of a triangle. How do I find interior angles? What was that equation that we did? Right, that n minus 2, which how many sides do we have? 3 minus 2 times 180. So we get 1 times 180 is 180. And then how do we find the measure of one angle? Divide, right? Good. Divide by 3 to get 60. Okay, same thing with exterior angles with a triangle. How did we find that? Right, all of them add up to 360 and then divide by the number of sides. What's 360 divided by 3? 9. 120, there you go. Okay, so all of it has to do with what? What's the most important thing to know? Formulas and looking at this shape, what's the most important thing to get from the shape? The number of sides, right? So most important thing is to find the number of sides. Okay, and then follow the correct formula. Yeah? Okay, any questions before I let you work? Okay.